All right, PKN episode 163. We were just starting to talk and it was rolling. I'll recap for what you missed. Taylor said, "Hey, slow news week. What could we possibly talk about?" And it's like, I try not to talk about politics, but you can't have a bad weather system without it being political now. And that's not new, really. Like Katrina was really political too for W, but
but his failure was what was politicized. If he'd gotten down there and taken care of it, it just kind of blown over, if you will. But it seems like anything that happens, they all look at Trump and they say, all right, what's he going to do? If he does this, it's wrong, and if he does that, it's wrong.
Yeah.
If he goes there, he's distracting and he's taken away from the rescue efforts. If he golfs, oh my God, let's bring up a tweet he made 4 years ago of him mocking Obama's golfing. If the aid doesn't get there instantly, if he doesn't teleport that shit down there, it's his fault. If someone shoots someone, Trump. Everything goes back to him, and it's a negative. And I'm not saying he's doing a good job, because he's not. But it just seems we should really focus in on the things that he's doing a poor job at, and stop making it seem like every time a frog goes extinct, like literally, I guarantee you, like a frog could go extinct in California, and they would circumnavigate back around
in Japan.
It could happen. To blame for the global warming that caused this frog that we all have loved.
Kyle nailed it. Now, I try to be the special snowflake that doesn't see things through the blue or red lens, and I don't always succeed. But in this one, he came out today and he said that Puerto Rico was not a disaster on the level of Katrina. 16 people died. Thousands of people died in Katrina. And when I first heard it, I was like, he must have his fact wrong. Did thousands of people really die? Yes. Yep. And then I thought, well, maybe they weren't Americans, right? Because a lot of times when you get the really high body counts, like it happened in Haiti or something.
Yeah.
No, there were like 1,500 in Louisiana.
Yep.
And when he says only 16 died in Puerto Rico, you're not on the same level. It's like, well, at least by that measuring stick, you can't argue with him.
Is it really 16?
So
because,
far.
like, given how big of a story that's been in the news, it's pretty shocking. I have not seen from any tweet of any news source saying the death count.
I
you
can tell
saying
you,
16 right here is
this
the
is from
first time
today.
I've heard of it. I assumed it must be in the hundreds or something.
This is from today. He's talking to some sort of representative from Puerto Rico, and he's like, "Is it 17?" And they're like, "No, 16." yeah, he threw one on there. It wasn't a bad guess. I might have.
One to throw on.
Yeah. Did you find one maybe under some rubble or something? Like everyone's been saying it's going to grow. They just haven't been able to explore it and such yet.
Don't even pay all the taxes.
16, it's like when someone is like, hey, guess how much I got this brand new car for? And you say, I don't know, 58,000? And they go, no, it was less than that, but still, it's like you overshoot or undershoot it in a way most insulting.
I said I took a little heat on this on Painkiller already, but I liked Taylor's solution. The heat I took was like, hey, how much aid should we give people who haven't been paying taxes, right? Because that's part of what your taxes buy, things like FEMA. And then when shit hits the fan, maybe the government bails you out. But they don't pay taxes and shit hit the fan, and they still want to bail out, and that's so where do we fall on that? And then Taylor had a neat idea of saying like, well, maybe they become a state and start paying in afterwards, and so I don't know, that's something to explore.
Ruins the flag.
See,
I disagree. I like the new flag just fine.
The flag.
I don't.
But, bail them out, take care of it for now because you have to, and then change whatever the tax policy is that makes it even, so that they're paying into FEMA.
Give them one of the stripes.
What the positives are. I want to know what
the bottom red stripe is Puerto Rico.
Before we add Puerto Rico, I want to know what the benefits are for the rest of us, for the union, if you will. And I don't know all of them, but I'm sure there's a lot of them, not just that one, not just income tax made outside of Puerto Rico or inside Puerto Rico suddenly being taxed. Like, I bet there are others, right? Like now, this is coming from a place of ignorance. Like do Puerto Ricans serve more in the military or something? Like what
they
is
serve
it?
more now. Actually, so Puerto Ricans, in terms of like, I don't know how to describe it. Per capita military participation is very high. They serve in the military a lot.
Is that because they're poor?
Yeah, I was trying to tell it to my daughter. I was like, well, that has a lot to do with economic opportunities, right? Some people who join the military do it because they're looking
Patriotic.
for adventure. Some people do it because they're patriotic. A lot of people do it because it's just the best career opportunity they've got going on.
Yeah.
And that's especially true in the aviation world, something I'm kind of close to lately. But it's a great way to get started there. Then I think that has a huge. I think that's a big part of why Puerto Ricans are in the military so much, because the economic opportunity is better there. They don't get paid less because they're in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
They get paid like everyone else does. But if you want to be a grocery store clerk or something, then you would get paid less.
I wonder what cost of living is like in Puerto Rico compared to here.
Nuts.
Or
Right.
I mean, it's so not here because it's so different across the U.S. But like, I wonder what state it's comparable to.
Yeah, I couldn't answer with authority.
Alabama.
I know that a lot of the things that get shipped in are more expensive. So that's a thing. But like, I don't know how like real estate compares and stuff like that. That might be less expensive. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think cars are significantly more expensive there because of being shipped in.
Yeah.
Makes
Maybe I
sense.
made it up. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to
Puerto
go out on
Rican.
a limb, but yeah. So Trump has taken all this heat on Reddit, like right now as we speak, for being so dumb. And look, I will grant the blue side that the way he said it wasn't appropriate for a politician. Like, hey, all you people suffering, this is really minor league suffering. You don't know shit about hurricanes, Puerto Rico. Like I'm misquoting, of course, but that's the vibe that he kind of gave off, and it was the wrong vibe. But like Kyle said, focus on the actual bad things.
It's like, yeah, you're right in that it's total. Everybody is or not everybody. So a lot of people, like especially those that are on the far right or the far left, now make 100% of their decisions based on what Trump says. It's like Trump will come out and say something that is not at all conservative as a policy, and Republicans, so-called Republicans, will be like, yeah, you say it, Trump, and Democrats will be like, you're killing people, and it's like, but you guys wanted this, and the Republicans hated this 2 years ago, and it's like, no, so many people just look at what Trump does and then just decide based on that, like
The border wall.
how outraged.
The border wall, like 8 years ago, was a democratically sponsored thing. They were all
Obamacare was
for
a Republican thing.
Yeah.
In
It's
Massachusetts.
More
all,
than that, it was their response to Hillary trying to have universal health care. They came up with Obamacare.
and it grew from Romney Care and all that. Everyone just wants to oppose the other side at all costs. Is what it seems like. And I was watching this thing the other night, and I saw that 4chan has figured this out. Right, like instead of protesting and like going after the NFL players who take a knee, they came up with the most intelligent way to do this. They said, let's push the NFL even farther to the left so that all of their fans drop them. So they are starting this thing up. Why are there no trans cheerleaders on the field? Why are there no trans
That's
cheerleaders? the NFL is bigoted. We have to get some trans cheerleaders. Now, there are a few Americans, there's plenty, obviously. The stands still have people in them who will sit by and they'll watch the New York Giants take the field, even if, a dozen players take a knee when the anthem's played. I bet that pie graph gets a lot more skewed if you start getting a few dudes out there cheerleading. And I'm not, there are male cheerleaders, and
Right.
there should be, because like it's required to do some of the shit they do. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about transsexual cheerleaders who are obviously, men in skirts doing the splits and stuff.
I want to know why there
that's
are
gonna
no
be-
female football players.
because
right?
they can't make the cut.
No, Kyle, because of
Kyle,
bigotry.
Jesus, Kyle, what's wrong with you? What a horrible thing to say. But
I've got a video that proves it.
No, you don't have to prove it. We all know
Yeah,
the truth.
the truth is that women just haven't been encouraged to get into football, and that they haven't been supported, and people are holding them back. You can look at the numbers. There's 0 women in football. Therefore, obviously, they're being held back in some way.
Yeah, why don't they make the Olympics gender neutral? I don't know, because then there would be one event that women could compete in. It would be gymnastics, and it would just be a sausage fest. Like that would
Would
be
they?
it. That's
Would
why
they
you
want to
don't do
compete
it.
in gymnastics?
No, well, I mean, the kind of gymnastics that women do is different. So like they could
There's-
not hold the rings or whatever. There's no chance, but they could do the flips and the.
I'm just
athletics.
convinced that if
Even
you
the guys
put
could do it.
guys on the uneven bars, which is a girl-only sport, the guys would fuck shit up. They'd be so much better.
Right. Yeah.
So Kyle has a video to watch?
Yeah, this chick is so. As far as I know, again, coming from place of ignorance, because football's fucking dumb. And this apparently there isn't a gender rule in the NFL. You know, it's come one, come all. So this chick's trying out to be a kicker.
Okay. So they're going by the old, there's no rule that says a dog can't play Little League.
Uh-huh.
All right, can we queue up at 0?
I'm there.
It's a 1-minute video, people. Ready, set, play. All right. Is this a no volume video? I'm just getting music so far.
Yeah, I don't
I've
have.
seen this before. This is depressing.
Oh, that's nice. She hurt herself.
She hurt
Oh,
herself? I can kick it that far, and I'm a doofus.
She held her leg in the same way that, like, when you can't pick something up and you don't want to look emasculated, you go, oh, my back. Oh, it wasn't that I'm not capable of lifting 150 pounds. It's my back today. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got to come. Maybe we'll get some help, or do we have a tool? No, she held her leg and faked an injury because she is shit at kicking a football.
Why is she
Look
even
at this.
there?
She's getting worked out by a trainer. That's it. She's
See,
done.
Yeah,
there
that's
are
it.
women in Division I football, kickers, who are okay at it. Like, apparently, kicker is a position where women, like the best of women, can do something. They can earn a way on their
something.
team. Yeah.
It's still, though, that's bullshit.
She's not
I
even
don't believe
them.
that. Because here's the thing about kicking. If kicking were only a precision thing, I'd be like, yeah, a woman can do that. A woman can do a precision thing as well as a man, probably. Maybe not
true.
on average, but there are women who can do precision things as well as just about any man. And if you've got if you're trying to get a football player, yeah, this one can kick a precision thing. But there's different yardages at play. Like I saw, I don't remember who won the game the other night, but they had to kick a 63-yard field goal
The Eagles
to
won
win
that
the
game,
game.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Eagles QB or maybe is over there. He's like, if he makes this, I'm going to give him my fucking game check. He makes this, I'm giving him my fucking game check. And the dude was like, damn. And he fucking makes it. And he's like, yeah. Like, everybody's pumped. No woman can kick a 63-yard field goal. There's no fucking way. And another thing, sometimes, like, what if that kick gets blocked and they start trying to bring it the other way? You've got to be coverage. And, like, the best kickers, when I see a kicker, like, step out of the way like a Nancy boy, I'm disappointed in that kicker. I want my kicker to,
At
like,
least get
try to
run
throw
over.
a leg tackle in. Yeah, at least get ran over.
Slow him down so the other guy can actually tackle him.
Yeah, just
Yes.
be a meat shield. That's your job.
Yeah.
You think
Absolutely.
this lady could do that? No, like it would be a real, oh my God, is she okay kind of scenario if a 6'3" muscle mountain monster just runs right through her. Like,
Those
and
little
also
guys.
the thing of like, I bet like my foot is 3 times the weight of hers, and my legs are longer, and I'm faster, and my bones are harder, and I'm just stronger, and I suck at kicking. I did field goal kicks for my middle school football team, and I made most of them. You know why? Because it's not fucking hard, because I was a large 8th grader or whatever, and you just kind of get it down. And
Rub it in. Taylor, you said that Kyle was like, I think women can do precision things as well. And I don't know why, but I think they can't. Like, I think if there was a mixed gender pool, right, a pool being like billiards, that the men would dominate, and I don't know why.
Well, that's
You're,
not precision
it-
as much. That the men are actually like their larger frame, being able to like go over the table and get better angles. It's not that the women can't.
Okay,
hit
men
the ball.
dominate chess.
Now,
here's
that's a
another
different story. That's a different
you're not
conversation.
100% right here. Very un-PC, but men have better trajectory mapping in their brains because men and women's brains work differently. And so it's easier for men to predict the trajectory of a ball or know where to be to catch something.
But practice-
Your reaction time, men have a significantly faster reaction time than women by like 1/10 of a second or something
we're
like
talking
that.
about kicking.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot when you're doing something quick.
I wonder,
Kicking,
Taylor.
But kicking doesn't really require that. What I was thinking more like is like shooting. Like I
putting that ball down, and you have to quickly know, okay, that wasn't the perfect placement. How differently do I kick it now to get that
that could come
trajectory
into
right?
play, I suppose, in some odd situation. But I have a friend who only had daughters, and he's Mormon, so he's got 3 daughters. They stopped short of the full Mormon posse, but he got them all into competitive shooting, and it's air rifle shooting at a young age. He shows me their fucking targets, these like, I think it's 10 meters or 20 meters or something. Not a great distance, but you're standing and shooting. You're not on a bench or anything. They are shockingly accurate. They are frighteningly accurate. It's not like, oh yeah, they're all in a circle as big as an orange. It's not. Oh yeah, they're in the size of a golf ball. It's like, no, they're all fucking touching. They're all fucking touching.
And you're right. Like, as far as those three girls are concerned about shooting or whatever, like, and that's fair anecdotally. But when you're talking about things on a population level, you have to use generalizations. Otherwise, you can't come to any meaningful conclusion. And so there's a book called The Sports Gene, and if you pick a random average woman off the street and tell her to throw a baseball, and you pick 1,000 men and tell them to throw a baseball, and these are men like me who haven't played baseball since 6th grade and would suck at it, or just regular Joes, like people who work at Subway and accountants. These aren't like athletes. How many of those men, those 1,000 men, do you think that one woman throws faster than, if you guys had to guess?
Almost zero. Like there's something about
what
throwing.
What number do you think?
Just me. She throws
it would
faster than me.
It would be like I would say 3% of women can throw are going to beat like 3% of men or something like that. I don't.
Way too high. It's of those 1,000 men, that woman will throw faster than 2. So it's in 0.002. Like, it's that level of difference. And that's just because of physicality. Like, it's easier for men to rotate their shoulders. Like, you have a different kind of build. Like that's why you don't want women and men competing in the same sports, because it's not fair.
It's lots of stuff, really. But all right, so throwing a baseball isn't something that you can just do. Like, if you haven't thrown rocks as like a little kid, if you weren't always just throwing stuff, or if you didn't have some coaching at one point, like, you got to learn to throw. There's a really fluid motion. My dad was and coaches were always like, you got to envision your arm as this whip, and you've got to, and it cracks at the end, and like every part of your body has to add to it. Your foot placement's important. Your hips rotate, and your upper body rotates, and then your shoulder rotates, and then your bicep rotates, and then your forearm rotates, and then at the end your wrist flicks, and just at the very end your fingers have to do. And it's like, oh shit, this is a complete muscle chain reaction that has to happen perfectly to throw this thing optimally, and girls don't do that a lot.
That's the thing that's part of the difference that I found. So I swam, right, and it seemed like 5% of the girls cared as much as an average guy, right? They even at the collegiate level, they were like half in it for the lulls. It seemed
that's testosterone. That's competitiveness, like dominate,
killing themselves.
To dominate.
So we had a couple All-Americans on our team, and those girls were like guys in their mentality, but the bulk of them, they just kind of hoped that the other girls would win it for them. They liked winning. They preferred it. But, it wasn't like they would rather die than lose. Yeah, that just wasn't there.
There's so many reasons for that. Like I'm sure there's genetic reasons, there's chemical reasons, there's societal reasons. I mean, when a man fails, hopefully he's shamed. He's shamed when he fails. There is no second place, only first loser. Right? When a girl fails, she's often consoled. Oh, no big deal, honey. Oh, it wasn't even a big deal, that thing you were doing anyway. Just nothing matters for you. Don't worry about it. Sort of mentality can come into play with some parents. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. But like, I remember, like, man.
Well, yeah, I think that men's sense of self-worth is a lot more closely tied to winning and that kind of success in a lot of ways than women's.
I cried when I would lose. It was a real thing. It was like, oh, we have lost. This is shame upon us, especially if it's like my fuck up that makes us lose. If I strike out, if my arm gets tired and I can't hit the strike zone now, if like whatever we're doing, like, it doesn't have to be like a team sport. Even we can be playing Frisbee in the backyard, and if I just get dominated, like we used to have shooting competitions all the time. If I lost, it was like, God damn it. The fuck is this? Now they think less of me.
It's not fun to be that guy who lets in the easy goal in overtime. And then you lose the game. And, of course, as the goalie, you skate over to the bench where everybody is and have to be like, I'm sorry. That one was all me, guys. You guys are really busting your ass that game.
For me, it was never tears or anything. It was like immediate plating towards redemption. How do I plot my way back? How do I get a rematch on this thing? Or if that's not a possibility, like we won't face them till next year, it's like, next time we go out there, that other team is going to face the wrath that this team brought upon them. You know, like it was always like, how can I get back to where I belong?
Yeah, I'm thinking when I cried, it was literally like the championship little league game. Like it was like we were at the, it was a big tournament, and at the end there's just us and the other team, and I'm pitching and we're ahead, and I let the run in. It was over. It was all on me. There's no one else. And I remember like looking toward the coach and being like, I don't have it. Like my arm is like numb. Like after you throw, I don't know, 80, 90 pitches, like your arm just kind of gets numb and you just don't have any control. And I knew I just didn't have any control. I didn't have any control. I had like 70% of my strength, and I was, but it wasn't a regular thing for the player to be like, hey, take me the fuck out. Like it's not like the majors where you can be like, hey coach, oh no, take me out. Like that wasn't a thing. That wasn't our repertoire. And like it's kind of embarrassing. The entire field looks at you as the pitcher. Like both stands are full of parents. They're looking right at you. You're the one who cues the game up. Mm-hmm. If you sit there an extra 30 seconds, the game waits for an extra 30 seconds. So it's just really a shameful, awful thing.
Are you allowed to throw fits when you're angry in baseball? Is that like?
Yeah.
I know you can like kick dirt on home plate, but I haven't seen much worse than that. Like I'm just remembering back when there was one time when I guess I was like 17 and we were in the playoffs and we'd gotten pretty far and we were in overtime and I'd been having one of the most stellar games I ever played. It was like tied 1-1 going into OT, and I think I'd stopped like 39 shots or something.
Nice.
Like 39 or 40. And we got through the first OT, second OT started, and I only had, maybe 5 or 6 shots in the first OT. And then like 2 minutes into the second OT, a guy comes down and dangles my defenseman who looked like a fucking idiot. And he just comes in like he was going to shoot and then took like the kind of shot that you wouldn't see in the NHL at a high level because it's not smart, but the guy just got like 9 feet from me and just just slapped it as hard as he could, and like your human reaction time isn't fast enough, and it just got right past my arm and went in, and I like kind of sat there for a second, frozen, like it didn't score, did it? Didn't fuck, and I turned around and I smashed my stick, and it shattered and it flew back and broke. Knocked my net over. I was so fucking pissed, and I didn't realize till later, like, oh, that probably wasn't appropriate, like, as a way to act. But you're right. You get like so emotional. You either want to cry or just scream or freak out at people because you feel it's like a feeling of guilt, even though it doesn't actually matter morally at all.
Yeah. You're definitely allowed to throw those kind of fits in baseball and smash equipment and stuff. Like I always brought my own equipment. Like I had my own helmet. I had my own bat that was a very nice bat. Like. And I didn't like it when other people would like put my fucking helmet on because like don't fucking put my helmet on or take my bat. I'd be like, did Jordan fucking take my helmet and my bat? Like he's not careful with his shit. Like I knew when he like got a hit, he was gonna drop the bat in such a way that was gonna get all fucked up. It was because I kept it really nice. When I got a hit, I lobbed it into the grass. I made sure that it didn't hit the dirt and get skint up because it's got designs on it and shit. And he slammed my helmet. It's like, what the fuck? That's my fancy custom helmet that fits my dome just right.
Jordan's an asshole.
Jordan was an asshole. He sweated so profusely for a child that we thought something might be wrong with him.
Did Jordan ever stand on your rainfly?
No, not
Did
once.
he not take care of other people's things? Is that what we're saying?
We're not talking about 30-cent rainfly, okay? We're talking about my $400 bat and like my $200 helmet. It was custom for me. It fit my head.
For what it's worth, I would be way more abusive towards a bat or a helmet. Like I wouldn't give a fuck. I would have proud scratches on them. I would just treat them differently than a rainfly.
No, no, my shit is shiny. I take care of my shit. Like that was mine. And like not many people had their own shit. Like
I agree
everybody
with
else
Woody.
is going
I
to
like my stuff getting messed up.
Yeah, I like it to be a little used, a little battle scarred, right? Yeah, not fake battle scarred. You can't just bang it against your doorway at home. These are earned scratches.
Yeah, the first few games after you get new pads and a new stick, as a goalie, you look like a rube, like an idiot, because like there are no black marks all over your stuff. There are no chips on your stick, no little breaks. Like every time I'd see a goalie with like brand new stuff on, I'd be like, oh, this could go any way. he might be horrible with rich parents, which is usually what it is, or he might be the kind of guy who plays so much that he has to get new pads every year. So, that was fucking expensive. I imagine bats are in the hundreds of dollars as well, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know, $300-$400.
you probably haven't heard there was a shooting recently.
Where?
I did hear.
It was in Vegas.
What happened?
Do we more seriously?
Do we know yet?
What do we know about this shooter? Like, here's what I know. I think there were 59 killed, 58 killed, something like that.
I'm pretty sure the shooter was a Saudi immigrant. He was connected with ISIS. They're saying a young man, poverty-stricken. So we're poverty-stricken. So we're not quite sure where he got the funds to purchase the weapons. No, he was a 64-year-old white millionaire.
Was he a millionaire?
Owned a
real
couple
estate
planes.
millionaire.
He's got like three or four houses. They every day they raid a new house. They're shocked when they find more guns in his third house. They're like, "Can you believe he had 8 in his third house?" Like,
yeah, that sounds completely normal to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. He's a 64-year-old white guy who millions of dollars from real estate, a professional gambler. I read somewhere that, or maybe not professional, I don't know, but apparently he'd won a lot through gambling, and there is still nothing that I've seen, at least, that has anything to do with like a motive, like no manifesto, no group of like, or nothing coming out of like, oh, it turns out that he hates, the kind of people who are at country music, shows, or that he hates, like rednecks or whatever he would have perceived, or
Hank
any
Williams fan. He didn't like that Jason Aldean stuff. Like,
yeah, I have no idea. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out about him, if anything, because it's so bizarre right now. Like, usually it seems like some kind of motive comes out.
It'll have to come out eventually, right? Like, because it would shock me if someone got that radicalized without like finding people online with the same views, because I feel like that boils it and helps it grow. You can have your own wackadoo views, but it's not until you find a forum of like-minded people that you can really percolate it to the next level.
I agree.
So I think when they check out his computers or phone or something, they'll find something.
Yeah, it's crazy the way he did this thing. It's so well planned. It's so well executed. Like he had cameras, I guess, in the hallway and like a display in the room, so he knew when the SWAT team was coming. You keep getting conflicting reports, and you got fake news over at CNN, and that's all I get these days. But they said that that when they blew the door or whatever, that this guy jumped out into the hallway and like engaged them physically and ended up shooting one of the SWAT team guys in the leg. But then I hear reports that he shot himself like before they could get to him. Like
that's the one I heard.
And those two are nothing like one another. It's not like you can't get those two confused. But he had to have a special hammer, I would imagine, to knock those windows out. Maybe one of those escape hammers that's very, very hard.
Can I ask you, because you might know something about this? Can you not shoot a window out? Like, because in my head, I'm like, you shoot it, it's damaged, and now it's easy to break.
Yeah, he totally could have shot the window out. My guess is he knocked both windows out, got everything staged up. He had cameras set up filming him, I believe, too. He got his bipods, he got his rifles laid out. He had this thing planned, and he's going from rifle. The reason he's got so many guns, he's not reloading. He's going from rifle to rifle. He's got. I saw an AR with a 60-round Surefire mag in it,
Do you know if it was full? I've heard it was fully auto, but I also know that even a regular untrained person can pull a trigger fast enough to sound pretty auto.
Yeah, but the thing about when a regular person is shooting that fast is it's not continuous, and it's not this staccato kind of thing, this evenly paced thing. It sounded about 700 rounds per minute to me, which is about AK. But the thing is, since he's switching rifles, and I know that he had 308s and 223s, they said that the calibers range from that, and I never heard a different pattern. So I'm not exactly sure. If I had to take a guess, I would say he had a crank fire, which is this little thing. It goes on the side of the receiver, and it's like one of those little Jack in the Box toys. You know how you it's like one of those on the side of your gun, and as you crank it, it's firing the weapon at a really even pace like that. That's slower than full auto, because an M4 carbine is very fast. It's like 950 rounds per minute, somewhere around there. It's more like that, and he was going bup 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 bup, which is more like AK-47 speed, but he's switching rifles, so maybe bump fire, maybe crank fire. I would hope not, because then you'll see those things targeted
Right.
and looked at more severely. They'll get to the bottom of it eventually. Like maybe he could have altered them. You know, you can convert an M4 anyway that's got the right carrier. You can convert one of those to full auto in a very, very short amount of time with just a power drill.
And you can
a
get
drill
full auto
bit.
legally. It's just hard.
I think Chiz was debating someone on Twitter the other night about gun control, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, well, the way you debate someone on gun control is you ask them what their plan is, and then you shoot it full of holes, if you will, because
Yeah.
because it's easy to do that, because nobody has a plan to solve it. I couldn't come up with a plan to solve it, but there just isn't one. There's too many guns, and the thing is that gun manufacturers are very smart people.
I have a plan.
And lawmakers aren't very smart people, at least in the realm of gun manufacturers. So if they come up with this legal language, and then the gun maker hires a lawyer, and they find a way around the legal language. Look at the SIG arm brace, right? Are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
So the
I think
SIG
you showed me a
arm
picture of
brace-
it.
Different arm braces, the whole pistol rifle thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So if you want a short-barreled rifle, you need to get a tax stamp. It's an NFA item. But if you want a AR-15 style pistol, which can have any length of barrel, a very short barrel, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches, and it just has the buffer tube sticking out the back, which is not shoulderable, then that's all good because it's a pistol, and pistols barrels can be short. So SIG made this thing called an arm brace that attaches to that buffer tube, and it sort of straps onto your forearm, and you're able to fire the gun like a pistol more easily. And that passed the NFA the NFA guidelines. It got around the legalese language. But if you look at the thing, it bears a striking resemblance to a fucking stock. And
They're
all you gotta do is
shoulder-mounted,
shoulder
yeah.
the thing. However, if you shoulder the thing in front of the wrong people, you've
Do you
committed
want to
a
hear the
crime.
Woody plan?
Yeah.
All right. So, look, I'm not claiming it solves all gun violence. It's not the goal. The goal is to be better than today. So, here it is. What it is private sellers no longer sell person to person. So that way, everyone goes through the background check that you would get if you went to a gun store. Because private sellers, something I saw today, like 40% of gun sales. It's a pretty big amount. So now, if I want to sell to Kyle, we both go to the gun store. We pay that guy $15 to facilitate it, and he does a background check, I guess, on Kyle in that situation. So that's part of it. And
Okay.
to make this more palatable to gun owners, we wrap in silencers becoming available like, I don't know, cans of soup. I don't care, right? So in one bill, we call it the Hearing Protection Act if you want it. I think that's one that's cooking now, right?
The Hearing Protection Act
right?
against child pornography. Yeah.
and we make silencers legal, and we make private sales just bring in a gun store into the loop, so that people don't ignore background checks anymore. And what we get is a step forward towards both safety and coolness.
I like that a lot, but here's the thing. Right now, you have an enormous pool of weapons out there that are... to enforce that, then you also have to force everyone to register their weapons. Because otherwise, how do you know if you sold me a gun? How do you know? How does anyone know that you sold me the gun? And how can you prove when it was sold? Because what's going to come into place here is they're going to be like, okay, it's June 3rd. Any gun sales from person to person after June 3rd, you have to go to a gun store and make it right that way. And I'll just be like, oh, well, let's just say we did it June 2nd. And how would anyone know? Unless you force everyone to come forward and register their weapons, and then you make it a serious crime to possess a non-registered weapon.
This might, I hear you, and I don't like the register because it feels
Yeah,
a
now
little
there's a
Orwellian.
list.
Yeah. Now, the list, yeah, exactly. I have an issue with that. But even though in North Carolina, there's totally a list already. But it might be the kind of thing where it takes 10 years or 15 years to really be worthwhile. And then that whole backdating thing becomes silly. It's like, dude, you're 25 years old. Are you telling me you did this 15 years ago? You didn't. So that. But anyway, I still like that idea as a step forward. Is it perfect? No. But what is it? Perfect is the enemy of good. The idea that you can't do something good because it's not perfect. I don't like that.
The idea I dislike more than any is this like loose language, of people who clearly don't know much about firearms, where they'll be like, "Oh, we need an AR ban," because people think that AR stands for assault rifle. They don't know that it's just Armalite is the company that makes that one. Like that's what I really dislike, and all these disingenuous stats that people throw out there, where they include suicide in gun violence because that fits their agenda. It's there's so much shit to wade through with all of this, but that's got to be the argument that I dislike the most, of just get rid of all assault rifles. It's like, just like what Kyle was saying. Like, I bet Kyle's question, well, what would your question be to that, Kyle, if someone's like, just get rid of assault rifles?
Define an assault rifle. Okay, now that you've defined one, I'm going to go around that. No matter what you do to define assault rifle, if you say semi-automatic fire, I'll link you to the Troy Pump Fire AR-15s, right? I'll show you a lever action. I'll show you an 870 full of 1 ounce slugs with a 20-round box magazine on it. Like no matter what you do, remember when Joe Biden told you to go get yourself a shotgun, leave that old AR at home? Oh my God, a shotgun is fucking lethal. Now, it wouldn't have been great for what this guy was doing at 400 yards. He wouldn't have been able to deliver nearly the firepower, but you can't go anecdotally. You can't be like, oh, let's solve this thing that happened last week. Let's solve that. The one in a lifetime apparent. When's the last time someone did something this crazy? That Texas clock tower shooter back in the 60s?
Heck, I've got something crazier.
I mean, Pulse was just...
How about we go back just
year and a half ago,
2 or 3 months, to that guy in Nice who got an even higher kill count with a van and a crowd?
Absolutely.
To focus on, like, all right, we need to make sure that fucking hotel windows are bulletproof and not knockoutable. Like, that won't get you very far. There's plenty of tactics you can take.
Yeah, let's burn alive. The fire department will be out there using a diamond saw blade to cut a hole in your fucking...
Yeah.
Like,
Look
Jesus
at
Christ.
Timothy McVeigh. Didn't even use the gun.
That's what, Chiz was having that debate, and I was kind of going through this list. I was linking him to multiple firearms. And, of course, this guy was a millionaire, so I linked him to an NFA page, a page full of pre-1986 fully automatic machine guns, which includes light machine guns, belt-fed 1919s, M2s, a 50 caliber machine gun, all of these things, like the guy could have gotten, and I'm sure, if he wanted to. Then I was like, here's Tannerite.com, here's U-Haul.com. Like, do I have to explain how this works? Like you can't stop the madman. What you've got to do is get rid of madmen. You've got to work on mental health. Background checks are a good thing, because that makes sure that the people you've already identified as either psychopaths or felons or violent people, whatever you're using to determine if someone should or shouldn't have a gun, if this guy had survived, and let's say he, it's the future's coming, CRISPR and all that, it'll be in the prison systems, right? Maybe he makes it to 280 years old or whatever, and they let him out, we wouldn't want to arm him again.
Right.
Like he's had his shot.
Yeah.
And he's
I hear you. I look forward to when the details about the guy come out. And I'm also interested in the first responders. In so many of these things, I swear, the first responders can totally suck an egg and they'll be praised as heroes. This did look like a tough one. I gave the French policemen a hard time when they went into that. The
concert hall.
They were very slow about entering the concert hall, and these guys they killed 90 people, 118 people, something really high. And it's like, dude, it went on for like 15 minutes, and you're like coming up with the plan on how to take out 2 guys.
Yeah,
they're
just in there executing people.
Yeah, oh my God, but those first responders were so brave and so wonderful and so fucked up. So, but
They're
this
torturing
one,
people.
It looked like it was pretty tough. That with him up in the hotel room, even identifying which room number it was could take. And I heard the whole thing happened in 8 minutes. That's what I heard. So that's
fast enough. That's as fast as it's ever going to get. They got a SWAT team in that guy's hotel room with an explosive charge within 10 minutes. That's shockingly fast.
Yeah. Once I saw video of it and I saw like an aerial layout of the area, it was like, it's hard to be a lot faster. They weren't like outside his hotel room door for 15 minutes coming up with a plan like the fucking French guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would take me that long just to get dressed, right? Like to get all my gear on and like it's loaded. All right, get a helmet and my and get my goggles on. Just right. Where's Larry at? He's got the Ram, right?
It's all foggy.
Like,
who put fingerprints on my goggles?
Ram in the Jeep? Fuck, what's the knock? Sir.
Yeah, it seemed like they were pretty quick, and that the guy had a strategy that would make first responding naturally slower. you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, absolutely. That guy was that's the scary thing about it is like this guy was not a maniac. What he did was pretty maniacal, I suppose you could say. It's outrageous.
he wasn't
it's
an
horrible.
idiot anyway.
We don't really know if he's a maniac yet. Like a
Yeah.
manifesto could still come out. Like who know? Like
He could have been talking to those cameras he set up. Apparently, you know, there might
I
be
hope-
something on there.
it
What I'm
seems-
getting
I
at
don't
is,
know.
like-
Oh, go ahead.
This wasn't the guy who like so many terrorist attacks. You're like, it's easy to see how this person was swayed to believe that if they did this, there would be virgins and like olives waiting on them in the afterlife. Because just what they did there was fucking stupid. Like he jumped out and stabbed a cop and tried to take his gun in the and then ram some people. Like that, what a terribly thought out plan. His weapon was a kitchen knife. He couldn't even go get a tactical knife, like a big Bowie knife. Like this is a shitty plan from a stupid person. But that's not what we saw here. This is a guy who set up his own security system to like watch his back. They kept saying tripods. So in my head, I'm wondering if they mean that there were tripods set up in his room filming what was going down because he wanted to like record this, or if it's just them being dumb with their nomenclature and they mean bipods on rifles, or if he had a tripod set up that you could that you could set a weapon system on. I don't know. Like.
I mean,
I
don't know.
yeah,
I
we
will
really
say,
can't know anything yet.
I'm so glad I asked Kyle about if they were automatics in the gun stuff because he had some insight that I haven't heard anywhere else that I wouldn't have had myself.
Yeah, it was just the way it sounded. That's not an M4 sound to me. It's just not. It's too slow. And it's an AK
I also
has a
thought
pretty
it
distinct
sounded
noise.
like it. I might be able to shoot that fast, but not that consistently. Like some would
Exactly.
pop off quickly, some would be a little delayed, and but it also you hear very little about fully auto used nefariously. Like it's not very common.
Yeah. He could have converted them easily. You know, it's you can. You know, I kind of don't like to say this on a YouTube video, but you can figure out how very easily. You can order the parts to do it very easily, and the tools cost $30.
And you could do
know?
it legally because you have the licenses for it.
I don't have that license anymore. I've let that one go. But
well, yeah, but
yeah,
have you ever done it when you?
Oh
had
yeah.
that?
Oh yeah. Like I've legally done it before. I ordered one of the new. I'm about to explain how to do it even easier, but don't do this. It's a federal crime, so don't do this if you're listening. But we got the new Frontier lowers, which are plastic. It's a plastic AR-15 lower, so you can drill through plastic like plastic. You don't need a press to like line up an aluminum lower and carefully drill your holes so they're straight. No, you can you drill 2 holes. I believe they're 2 different sizes. And you put a new parts kit in there. You put an auto sear in there, and the fucking thing's a machine gun. That's very illegal. Don't fucking do that. If you want that kind of experience, get a bump fire stock, which is 100% legal. I think everywhere, at least it is in Georgia. And you know, it's a slide fire type thing. The rifle vibrates in your hand. It's sort of a masturbatory motion. You just apply steady forward pressure. And
I got it the first time.
Back pressure. Woody got it the first fucking time and turned like a cheap $900 AR-15 into
Yeah.
and you can't be highly accurate with it because the rifle's sliding back and forth in your hand. But
A lot of people, including me, I'm sorry to cut you off. Not that accurate is full auto. I don't think this case with the crowd down there, full auto might work. But most of the situations where I hear about like people going on a rampage, like going through the mall, shooting anyone they don't like, full auto would be a bad tool. You get way further with semi-auto.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is the spraying indiscriminately into a crowd is unfortunately where full auto kind of shines.
And 11 different weapons, you know.
Yeah, this guy
I
was
heard
really
11. I've
prepared.
heard other numbers too.
Yeah,
I've heard
at
bunches.
least that many.
Yeah,
like the
they're all
thing
over
I'm
the-
seeing a lot of online is people being like, "Oh, is this terrorism or is it not terrorism?" and all that, and it's like obviously everybody knows for something to be terrorism, it has like a political or religious motivation, like an agenda you're trying to push through violence and fear. I don't know how people are looking at this right now and saying, oh yeah, it's probably not going to end up that he had an agenda. It's like, no, this guy definitely did, which would make it terrorism the whole way. Like, regardless of what agenda he had, we don't know that yet, but it just seems literally unbelievable to think he just went mad and that was it. Like, I think that
I had to look up terrorism because Taylor said it was obvious, but Taylor has a good vocabulary. I was like, let me see. Here's what it means. The unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. Yeah. So Taylor was right on. Yeah, I guess what's the only thing left is, did he have political aims? We'll find out.
Wouldn't you be shocked
if he just had a brain tumor?
That he literally was just a brain tumor guy, like Kyla said? That just seems kind of that seems ridiculously far-fetched.
What if this guy got a brain tumor and he was like, all right, we'll let fate decide. I'm going to put my $8 million net worth on the roulette wheel. If I win, we'll go out peacefully. If I lose, well, hell, there's no reason to wake up tomorrow anyway. They said he had some big gambling transactions recently. I heard that on CNN.
Actually, if he did that, that would not be terrorism.
It would not.
That would be an insane person.
Yeah,
I don't think that's true.
Well, we keep mentioning how he's a multimillionaire and has access to a lot of funds. I might be an idiot, but I feel like a lot of people, a big chunk of the population, have access to a lot of funds if there's no tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
You know, like,
or at least enough.
Yeah,
funds.
you know,
He's got 2 planes. He could have done worse.
You put a second mortgage on your house, and you can buy 11 guns easy. You know, and on all the rounds you can do, and then if you're dying tomorrow, a lot of people have access to funds.
It's max your credit cards out. If you got a decent credit score, you just well, I think I'd like an Amex, a Discover, and an American Express, and yeah, we're done. You know, like you just need.
Sure.
Guns aren't expensive. Guns aren't expensive, especially right now. I mean, stocks soared as of this week for some reason. I can't imagine why, but guns are really fucking cheap. I'm not saying that his arsenal was cheap. He probably had nice shit, but guns are cheap.
I haven't bought a gun in a while. Maybe if I own one, I'd change my mind, but I think guns with... Kyle, help me. Is it called an integral suppressor or an internal suppressor?
Integral
suppressor. They are the neatest thing to me. I think they're really cool. The ones that screw on the front, I get how they're more practical and how they can cover a bunch of... But integral suppressors, to me, are just...
Are those illegal?
Yes. They're tricky.
It's a suppressor.
$200 tax stamp and a lawyer and 6 months or more. But you can get them legally. But it's time consuming and it's a pain in the ass, and I don't have a trust set up and all that fun stuff. So I was like, man, if this silencer thing goes through, you guys probably knew there's a bill called the Hearing Protection Act that we're going to make silencer legals. They were going to vote on it either this week or next week. I bet they don't now. And I was like, I'm getting something with integral suppressor. I'm getting it. I don't know, a honey badger, something that looks like a honey badger and shoots like a Glock. I don't know, but I really, really, really wanted one. That was going to take gun stocks and make them go up again.
I would suggest a 1022, the Ruger 1022 rifle. They look very cool, integrally suppressed, and they're incredibly quiet.
I've touched one. I haven't fired it, but they had one. They look cool. They're awesome.
Yeah, I think those look nice as well. It's 3 months waiting period. You should like if you go to your gun store, like they'll have a card there for their NFA lawyer, and setting up the trust is the ideal thing to do, but you don't have to. You know, you can just get it in your name or whatever. The trust protects you from some stuff, but it makes further purchases a little more easy. The main thing is when you pass away, then you could have someone else in that trust who the guns would just kind of shift over through, and you wouldn't leave the burden of paperwork and transferring to a loved one of some sort.
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow that all seemed like, if they're gonna vote next week, I'll just
wait on that. But if you still want to do, you can fucking do it with a phone call. You could just order that. You could do it all over the phone. But I like the integrally suppressed ones too. And there are some guns that are multiple tac stamps. So you get a short barreled rifle with a suppressor and integrally suppressed, so it's a 2-stamp gun. And those guys that have those, yeah, it's my 2-stamp SIG.
There's a lot of karma to be had posting that on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah, people go nuts. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. I want to make this deal with everyone now, which obviously is impossible. Whatever he believes, right? If he's a member of Antifa or if he's some right-wing lunatic or whatever he is, can we agree that he's not representative of me or you? Like if he's a Trump voter, I will not hold the two of you responsible. And if he's a Hillary voter, I will ask the same.
I think, yeah, the fringes on both sides are doing that right now, where they're like holding back, just waiting for that first drip of info that's like, he voted for Hillary. It's a terrorist. He's a Trump supporter, like whatever that is. But I think the middle 80% of people get it. Like,
I saw Hillary immediately tweeted about silencers, like as soon as it happened. Like, just imagine if he'd had a silencer. All the damage he could.
He'd still be up there whispering down mayhem. It's like, you've clearly never shot a gun with a suppressor on it.
There's an argument to be made that you fire less powerful rounds with a silencer, right? Because you typically, Kyle, you guys both know this, but usually if you shoot something that's supersonic through a silencer, you lose a lot of the benefit, right? Because it still cracks, it's very loud. Only if you shoot lightly loaded things that don't go as fast.
If you shoot subsonic, then it's virtually silent. It fits the bill. It fits the name. If you shoot supersonic, you're still going to have the crack of the bullet breaking the sound barrier. So it makes an AR-15 sound like a 22, which at 400 yards at a concert you probably wouldn't fucking hear. And also, but the thing that those guys were hearing, I think, at least, I'm listening to cell phone audio. I feel like I'm hearing the cracks anyway. That's what I'm hearing. Because he's 400 yards away and they're at a concert. I feel like you're hearing the bullets cracking as much as anything and hitting the pavement as well. Like I didn't see any impacts, but that makes a loud noise when a bullet hits something near you. I've went down range and gotten behind barriers and had people shoot at a target that was very close to me, so that I could just pop out and be like, "Yeah, you got it," or "No, you didn't." We don't use spotting scopes at all ever. They're expensive, and it's a little jog back and forth. So like I've been down range and had shit shot at me, and it's a different kind of noise when bullets, they whiz and they crack and they zzz, and when they hit something, especially something hard like concrete or asphalt, it's a whole new noise of its own. That's the terrifying thing to me, is that these people were all laying down, thinking that there was a gunman in the crowd, and meanwhile they were just making themselves maybe an easier target. By lying down.
Like ricochets.
Yeah. Well, you're lying down. He's in an elevated position. There's more of your more surface area.
There were
and
couple of alpha rednecks like, get down, get down, get down, and I want to be like, fuck you. I didn't vote for you. You're not my boss. Who made you?
Who's this guy think he is?
Yeah. Maybe I'm the only one thing. I really don't like being told what to do by random redneck assholes. And get down, get down. I want to be like, fuck you. You in particular. I am almost equally as upset with the two of you.
What are you out there like? No, everyone, make yourselves thin.
No, what my actual thought was, now look, I was watching it with I knew it was going on.
Single file.
Get off the X. Get off the X is a reasonable approach. Don't just get down and lay there. Get off the X. The target, like you are that's what they call it. Yeah. Kyle, I'm sure you both heard it. But
they didn't know where he was though.
Yeah. I knew all of that, but they're like, get down, get down. Like, you want to lay here? Fuck you! I'm gonna get off the X. That is a totally reasonable way to handle this. One cool thing is, the place looked easy to evacuate. Like before I saw any video, not the easiest, but like for example, if it was I forget the name of the place where the Hurricanes play, but it's an indoor arena. They play basketball and hockey there.
Yeah, it's the arena.
What's it?
PNC Arena, I think.
Thank you. Anyway, it would be very hard to evacuate that. A lot of people would be funneled towards the same exits and stuff like that. But this place, it seemed like they knocked over a fence, which if I saw right was just on legs on asphalt, and they just pushed the fence over. And then suddenly there was a 500-foot wide door they could all leave through together. And
I don't know.
You're right. That could have been way worse. You guys heard me talking about looking up the crushing thing. No, I'm saying that if it hadn't been
Easy
a
to
setup
evacuate.
that easily facilitated the exit of all those people, like the trampling, the stampeding effect could have been like even now, 59 people died, hundreds were injured. Like obviously those 600 people weren't all shot, but like anytime that many people are running around, like it's mayhem. It's out of control. If it had been a small door, like it would not be out of the realm of possibility to think that hundreds would have died.
Or
Did
the
you see,
oh, you can go.
Did you see Bilzerian?
No.
Dan Bilzerian. So I think Dan was there, like in the crowd. Not positive about that, but he was wearing his cowboy hat. So he comes on his, I think maybe Instagram, and he's running with the camera facing back at him. He's like, I just saw a woman get shot in the fucking head. Just saw a woman get shot in the fucking head. This is crazy. And so he runs home and gets his gun and goes back into the hotel and starts getting people out of the hotel and moving them around. And so they were coming over the police scanners like, there's a white guy. He's got his AR. He's helping people. Don't shoot him. And then I saw Bilzerian on CNN, like not on the mic or anything, but in the background, kind of with his hands on his hips, talking to the cops. Like it was interesting to see. He was like right in the middle. I don't know if he was there, but the thing that makes me think he was is because he said he saw a woman get shot right in the head, and he's wearing a cowboy hat. So
it doesn't happen
the reason
everywhere.
He was there.
Yeah.
No. And it was a country concert, so cowboy hat checks out.
Yep.
I've ran the math.
Yeah, it's they did a good job getting that guy. I was asleep. I went to sleep at like midnight, and I think I woke up at like 3, 4 in the morning, and I just tapped my phone to make sure nothing had come in. It'd be really rare if something had, and I had a message, and I was like, oh shit, this needs to be checked. A message happened between midnight and 4 a.m., and I check in. It's Chiz. He's like, you shouldn't have went to sleep. Vegas is a war zone. There's people dying, and I was like, all right, well, let's get up. As I get up, I turn on CNN and everything. And sure enough, like I kind of watched. He'd been watching it from the get-go, and he's internet savvy enough to get the police scanners on, and so he'd been watching from the start. Yeah, I remember when the Boston bombing thing was going on, and they were looking for those brothers. He and I and maybe another person, I don't remember, were listening to the police scanners, and it was really telling. Like there'd be coffee runs made that people are like, yeah, no donuts, just coffee. And they're just going back and forth with shit like that, and then they see something and they like swarm an area and like no, it's nothing. Neighbor taking his fucking garbage out. We told him to stay inside. He said it smelled. Whole thing.
Is that
just
a real
the
thing,
shit
or
they
just
have
like
to deal with in the middle of a crisis? Because of course one guy would be like, "Well, they can't tell me not to take my stinky trash out just because a couple of
that would totally be me.
terrorists."
I
take it out then.
I saw an accident scene. It was like icy. There's like cars sliding across a highway, and the police is like, "Get out! Get out of the road! Get out of the road!" And my inclination is to be like, "I'll stand in the road if I want to." I just really don't like being pushed around.
I like those clips on snowy roads where like 6 people have slid down and run into each other, like in that super like 2 mile an hour kind of accident where it's like, no, and then they hit each other. And like, then you look over across the hill and you see another guy come over, and he stops for a second and he goes, well, clearly that, dually diesel didn't have what it took, but my Honda Civic is going to power through. It'll be like Legolas on top of the snow. And then they start sliding down, and 2 seconds later, they're like, whoa. That's all that it is. There's always, like, every winter, there's a clip like that in, like, Florida or Louisiana or somewhere where they don't get snow, and it's just a travesty.
And it attracts spectators. That's what I like about those. That's the reason you're able to see this is like people are waiting. They're like, all right, let's see somebody else do it. Yep.
Oh.
There's a whole crowd down there waiting on the next dummy to come over the hill.
What were you thinking?
Another one, Deepwater. Deepwater. Like, yeah, there's like 3 cars stuck in the road from this flood zone that now is covering the paved road. There's a Civic stuck and a Tacoma stuck, and somebody else in their Lotus is like, well, maybe if I go super fast,
I'll skim across the top.
Yeah, good luck
Like
with that.
stone.
Yeah, I love that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. News is crazy. I think Trump will get a little bit of a pass now. I feel like at least the shooting thing's not his fault. He didn't do it.
Oh,
See?
wait. See.
Yeah, you guys
Well,
are probably. Yeah, you're right.
Trump's a big NRA guy. Remember, he's always, oh, well, Wayne Lafayette, he's my buddy. Yeah, we're tight. You know, they're going after the NRA now, and they're coming. It's
I feel
nothing
like
will
it's
come
not
of
going
this.
anywhere. Yeah, I'm with you, Kyle, on that. Yeah. I get, look, the Republicans have the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the judicial branch. In what world are
Isn't
guns
judicial
going to be
split?
taken away? I'm sorry?
Judicial split.
It's
It's
for now.
5-4 at the Supreme. And
Oh.
but even below that, like Trump just put 37 new federal judges in. Like it's by and large Republican now. I think Obama had 17 and Trump has 37.
governorships.
Um,
Yeah, it's the Republicans have it all
Yeah,
wrapped up.
governorships are-
And as much as I just have a huge disdain for lobbying, PKA lobbying firm need to make that shit happen. You know, the NRA's got plenty of money. I'm a member. You know, I pump some of that money into those
Well, they're
guys'
so
pockets.
powerful because they have so many members, not even because of their donations. Like, there's fucking millions of people are members of the NRA.
Yeah,
But
and
something
membership costs
about-
money.
The gun culture involves that lobbying, right? Like if I go to a range and I buy bullets, they're reminding me to donate to the NRA. Like if you play hockey, there's no huge lobbying force like, oh, do you need your skates carpet? Don't forget to donate to the NHLRA or something. Like that's not a thing. But something about like almost every gun owner is either a part of the NRA or guilty about not being part of the NRA. But like it's in their mind. The lobbying and the guns go hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, that's because there's nobody coming in trying to take your fucking puck away, right? Like these
That's
pucks
true.
are too hard. We're going to institute softer pucks. They only go a third the speed, so it's going to slow things down a bit.
Taylor,
Okay?
seriously,
You guys
what
don't
do you
mind.
need skates for? Like, why do you need
Yeah.
skates? Prove to me that you need them. You know?
Why do you need? That's the argument I hate more than anything, because it's just an emotional appeal of, but I don't get it. But I don't get why you
Right.
want that thing. It's like I don't understand why you eat vegan fake butter toast. You queer. Like I don't get mad at you for that. You know, I don't say that we need to ban all gluten-free aisles, you know, because you got an upset tummy. You know,
Here's a new thing. I wanted to whip it out on PKN, even though we're at an hour. There's a bill working its way into Congress, voting, etc. It's an anti-abortion bill, and I think all three of us are pro-choice. It's a bit of an echo chamber, but if I understand this one right, it doesn't sound too wacky to me. And I just loaded up
only
like
after
this.
5 months.
Yeah, that's the big. Well, then there's more to it. So, I think we're all on the same page that like, look, if it's 9 months in and this is like literally a baby ready to come out, right? Then this is not a good the abortion. It's not a good idea. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. This is literally a person at this point.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of moving. And then on the other side, we're all on the same page with like the day after pill. Is that what they call it?
Morning after.
Plan
Morning
B.
after, thank you. Plan B, morning after. We're all on the same page. Like that's not even that hard a decision. This thing is not a living, breathing person, etc. Somewhere in that day after pill to 9 months, the thing becomes a person. I
Yep.
don't know when that is. So they're putting a bill forth that says, unless it's a danger to the mother, and I think in cases of rape
And incest.
which maybe you could call rape, but whatever. Rape, incest, and danger to the mother, you can still get an abortion after 5 months. But otherwise, if you carry this thing 5 months, you have to carry it to term. And I'm like,
I mean,
all
that's
right.
a lot of time. 5 months.
You got
to get an
plenty of
abortion.
time. And look, you don't miss five.
This is what a
fucking
5-month-old baby looks like. Not the bananas. You have to click the link.
It's literally a
It was-
picture of bananas.
It was showing that it's the size of a bundle of bananas at that time. So it's got
They use the
fingers
banana
and
for
eyes
scale.
and a
That's
nose
hilarious.
and ears, and it.
Does it look like that? That looks like an. Oh, here. There's the ultrasound.
Yeah, man. There's the ultrasound.
Oh
It's
yeah,
got ears
at
and
5
shit,
months,
fingers.
it's pretty developed.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, I agree with that one. Like, look, if you haven't made your mind up after 5 months, you're a procrastinator and you deserve a child. All right.
And by
That's
the
your
way,
punishment.
there is another choice, right? If I were to rephrase it as this, hey, if you let this thing go 5 months without taking care of it, then adoption's your only choice.
We send
You
it
know.
to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then because it's like you don't have to be a mom forever. This doesn't have to change your life if it's going to be bad for the two of you. You can put it up for adoption and then just go about where you were. And
it seems like there's a lot of people wanting to adopt children. Yeah, like my experience with that comes from sitcoms, of course. But there's always some like parent. You remember when George had the friends wanting to adopt the kid and everything, and they messed it up for him or whatever. Maybe Elaine did. It seems like there's always people like really trying really hard, but they can't get a baby, or they're really expensive. Because I feel if you could sell babies, I'd start a baby mill, right? Like that's what they need to get on is baby.
yeah, I wasn't sure because I know you guys were pro-choice, and I was like, and by the way, it gets easier and easier to be pro-life when you're like not in that situation anymore. Like when Hope hits like 25, I've got like nothing to lose. Like whatever. I'm totally pro-life now. Like since I'm off the firing line, and I see a lot of people go in that direction. I'm not saying I am. That I'm not.
Same thing with guns. It's the same thing with guns. When if you don't have a dog in that fight. If you're not interested in a gun, you never want a gun, you're one of those people, then of course it's easy for you to say, oh yeah, take it away, take their rights away, take their guns away, take all the guns away, not even a musket, like take it all away. It's easy. But if you're fucking 25 years old, 30 years old, and you're having sex regularly and a condom breaks, your mind will change instantly. You're on board. You're like, I don't care if that baby is crawling out and asking for help. Fucking blast it with your gun, like you would support some sort of.
I mean, or adoption,
whatever. I'm just
if the
saying.
baby's
right, it's the
crawling
same
out,
thing
adoption
with
is right
guns.
there. You've already made it through. But yeah, this 20-week thing, I saw it and I'm like, I don't think I hate it. Now there is one other caveat that I might put in there that I don't think is in there. What if after 20 weeks you learn that the baby has something very wrong with it, right? What if it's only going to live 2 years, or what if it has
its brains on the outside, or
or
something
CP? What does Stephen Hawking have?
ALS.
Oh, is that what it is? But I'm going for cerebral palsy is the one I had in my head.
Yeah.
But I don't.
It depends.
I might
what's
throw
wrong
that
with it.
in
And
there.
There's a list of things that I would be okay with you aborting your kid if he had that. You know, like if he's left-handed, if he has a predisposition to being a liberal, any of these things.
He could be Jewish.
Yeah, if he's unattractive, does the child have a large nose? Like what's going on here? Does he have?
I'd
be fucked.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't be fucked. My
I'll
big
tell
nose
you
has to
what,
do with being broken.
If I ultrasounded my baby and he was always just staring right at the ultrasound thing, I'd be like, that's Satan. That is the fucking Antichrist. Like, look what he's holding up. He's holding up 6 fingers. He's flashing 666, 666. Like, no, kill it. Kill it with fire. Use the baby harpoon. Get it in here.
But there's certain
That'll
birth
kill the
defects.
mother as well. There's no time.
I think they should add a few birth defects to
like
that
a
list.
crossbow.
Oh, go ahead.
Shoot it in through the vagina and just like that thing on Jaws when he had to click himself into the chair.
Yeah, exactly. It's
But anyway,
exactly like that.
I was curious as to where you guys fell on that thing. It sounds like we're all on the same page, basically.
Yeah, I think guns and this stuff, I think we're always pretty much on the same
Because
page.
it's common sense stuff.
we're actually on the same page on most issues, I think.
yeah.
Not healthcare, though. But we just disagree which party's better at it. That's where we typically disagree.
And nobody's good at it.
Yeah, we agree
Now,
on that.
if they were good at things, they'd be in the private sector.
PKN, episode 1.
If they had skills that were marketable and weren't afraid of getting fired, they'd be in the private sector doing something, running a business.
We need some sort of a massive technological leap, like where healthcare is virtually free, and just some Star Trek shit. I've been watching these videos. Star Trek is socialism. That's what's going on in the Star Trek universe, but it's fine because technology has eliminated the need for money. You have a replicator that can just make any material you want. It can make gold. Gold is no longer of any value because you can just be 10 pounds of gold, and it'll just make it out of energy.
But we'll never be post-scarcity.
Oh, unless we figure out how to rearrange atoms. I mean,
I discovered a hypocrisy in my own healthcare argument. So I've often said, in fast forward. The state line thing, if you let them compete against across state lines, they all go to the state with the weakest laws and etc. However, I would really like them to be able to sell drugs across country lines, right? It's crazy that we pay, I'll make it up, 2 to 5 times more for a drug than Canadians do. That would just end if suddenly we could have drugs shipped in from certain countries.
What's your legal recourse when that Canadian Viagra makes your cock explode?
It won't. It's the same drug. It's just a generic or some other,
or exactly
branch of the same company. Or exactly.
AIDS drugs in particular are like just slightly over free in Africa and incredibly expensive here.
That's why I dislike Trump on the free trade. It's the worst deals ever. It's like, no, the more free trade you have, the more people have access to cheap and quality goods and competition that drives the price of those down. Like, you're totally right about that. Like, if we could allow across country lines, that would be really impactful.
It would be huge, I think. Yeah, if suddenly American stuff, because that's a big part of the issue, right? When we pay $100 for a Band-Aid in a hospital, or when we pay $1,000 for a drug at the store, if we took care of that, then that would be a huge step forward towards lowering healthcare costs.
Yeah. Because it's basically like the way it is now. You have to pay that because there are regulations in place that allow them to basically have a monopoly on that drug. Doesn't matter that people in Canada are taking the same dick pill, for a millionth the cost. You can't get it. You don't get that because you don't live in Canada.
The challenge with it is, we're getting off topic, all this is set up with other people's money. Like, when you pay insurance, somehow you're paying your healthcare bill, like your doctor, with other people's money, so you don't care about the price of it. And the insurance people are like, well, this is the price, so we'll just charge them this much for it. It's like everyone's getting paid somehow with other people's money, and then the prices run outrageous until you're paying $100 for ibuprofen. And if I don't know, like, if there were labels on the prices at the hospital, people might make different decisions. Like, we brought our own Tylenol.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
I remember when the only time I've paid for any real health care was when Scott's leg got all gashed up with that minor explosion, and I took credit for that. I fucking did the thing, so I'm responsible. I felt like, at least responsible for the medical bills, not legally responsible by any means. But we got him into the ER, and first of all, I didn't want to take him to the ER. I was like, man, we can sew this thing up. Like we can sew this thing up. Like let's just be a man about this, and get some fishing line, and I've got a suture kit. We'll pull up a YouTube video, and he's like, fuck no, take me to the hospital. Fuck no, take me to the hospital.
I almost got 2 videos on it today.
Yeah,
right? If you told me I'm going to pull up a YouTube video, I also would say, eat shit, take me to the hospital.
Dude, I could have stitched him up like nothing. Like no problem. I could have made that shit.
You clean the needle, Kyle? Yeah. I spit on it.
No painkiller, I guess?
Big lighter on it for 2 seconds.
That does it. The lighter does it. The lighter would have done it. So I took him to the ER, and they're getting ready to do the thing, and he's gonna give him some lidocaine or whatever the fuck the injection would be to numb it. He's like, "Do you want that?" And I was like, you don't need that, do you? He's like, yeah, I do. I was like, how much is it? And he told me, I don't remember, but it was hundreds of dollars. Like it was hundreds of dollars just for the injection. I want to say the full hospital bill was it was over $1,000. I don't know if it was $2,000 yet. Somewhere between $1,400 and $1,900. I remember paying $1,400 right away, and then I think another bill came for a little more, a few more hundred perhaps.
Did you
and
say
it was
lidocaine or
no?
Novocaine?
He got it.
I would have been like, you know what? You fucking wait here and deal with it. I'm running to the corner gas station. I'm going to bring you back a pint of the cheapest vodka they have. And if you're in that much pain, you'll deal with it.
He was not up for that. And, I felt like it was dealer's choice. And because, I don't get to decide what level of health care is provided to you just because I am responsible for the thing happening to you. So he asked for what he wanted, and he got it. It was only 5 stitches. It was 5 stitches. It's not a gash. It's just a little puncture wound.
With Colin's foot, so we're there, and once everything was kind of the tension was a little lower because he was pale and terrible shape, and but an hour after being at the hospital, he was just a little more chilled, and I go to handle the bill of it and stuff, and they're like, well, it looks like your per incident deductible is $2,000, and we need 1,200 right now. We could do that in payments. And in my head, I'm like, look, this thing's gonna hit the $2,000. We both know it. We haven't done any follow. Can I just pay that here now? And then I want
to.
You hold 5,000 and back to me.
Yeah. Like here's $2,000, and then just don't bill me anymore for anything else, and we'll be square because we know where this is headed. But that. On a side note, I will forever, until the day I die, be grateful of the doctors that fixed him. One, he's perfect now. He has a scar on the top of his foot. That's it. Otherwise, it's good. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing. The other thing is, so Colin has special needs, and he couldn't move. I think it was either 2 or 3 of his toes. I think it was 3, the middle ones. And there was no, talking to him about it. There was no, even now, it's Wednesday, right? If you ask him hey, when's Saturday? He doesn't fucking know. That's not a thing that he's good at. He has no idea.
He doesn't have to keep track.
Yeah. If you ask him what's after Wednesday, he doesn't know what's after Wednesday. So we're in the hospital and we're trying to explain to him that it's the weekend and that there's less staff available and that they'll fix it on Monday. And this is not sitting well. And stuff he would normally get day after tomorrow isn't working at the moment. And the doctor moved heaven and earth. The surgical team was 12 people or 9 people, and he had to call 18 to get them to come in on a Sunday morning and do that operation. And not only did he kill it and make everything better again, but he did it the next morning because he understood that Colin has more mental stress than other kids. And that was pretty special.
What a good guy.
What a fucking gory injury. Like every time I think about that, I get a little, I would not want to suffer that injury.
He's got PTSD about it. We were at Behind the Stable today, and he's like, I don't like axes. Axes chop feet. I do not want to play with axes anymore.
Wrong.
Yeah. And it's like, Colin, we're putting the dust collection in the wood shop right now. And he's like, no, I really don't want to chop wood. I don't like axes. Axes are bad. He's totally okay with the hydraulic splitter. He loves that thing. But
fucking Paul Bunyan cartoon comes on. He's running for the hills.
yeah. He is even to this day. He's not a fan of axes at all. They chop feet.
I wouldn't be either. I can't. I completely understand that. My dad had that injury forever ago, maybe 15 years now. On a grinder, like a table grinder, one side has the wheel, the hard stone, and the other side has the bristles, the wire brush. He was bristling something without glasses on, and one of the bristles flew into his eyeball and embedded itself such that there was just enough sticking out that every blink cut the inside of his eyelid.
Oh.
A gruesome injury, and you could see it, this little black speck. And he goes to one doctor, and that doctor's got the eye, the Clockwork Orange set up on him, holding his eye open, and puts the numbing drops in. And he's trying to pluck it out, trying to pull it out with tweezers. Can't do it. Can't fucking do it. They ended up having to do this procedure where they took a small drill bit and drilled a hole into his eyeball right next to it so that they could extract this thing. It was in so deeply. And we put our glasses on around here, forevermore, as Jerry Clower would say. It was you got your safety glasses on? You got your glasses on? You got them on? Put 2 on. Put 2 fucking pair on. There's goggles. You go into his shop and there's a plethora of fucking safety glasses everywhere. They're everywhere. Multiples. Every time he goes to the parts store or wherever, he's like, "Hey, give me a 3-pack of those safety glasses, dude, while I'm here."
I had your father's experience was better than mine, but I'm really good about glasses, right? But somehow I didn't think the drill press was as dangerous as the other machines at throwing shrapnel, and I used it without glasses one time, and sure enough, I got shrapnel in my eye, and it hurt for a while. The doctor plucked it out, and you could see the rust. It was rusting in my eyeball, and now not only do I buy glasses, I'm kind of picky about them. I like ones that sit closer to the eye. They're not sealed or anything, but they're kind of aerodynamic looking.
Yeah,
and
Kitty,
if you go to my stable right now, you'll find 22 unopened pairs of glasses. I'll get you a brand new. I don't give a fuck. They're not. I buy them in bulk at Amazon, and there's no reason not to wear glasses. I get you a sterile pair if you want it.
Yeah, I've always I remember being in shop you know, and there would be kids over there working without their glasses, and I'd be like, y'all fucking up. Y'all fucking up. Like, you don't even know the kind of injury that you're up for here. We had so many injuries in class. Like I take that back. We didn't have a ton of them, but the ones we had were semi-serious. Like a couple kids lost fingers. Like one kid, it
Like
was
in your
the chops
year, or like through the school's history?
through this while I was there. Like guys in my class, or like the period before me. In one case, he chopped one of his fingers off with like one of those. It's a wood saw that like has a base, and you know you slide a 2x6 under it, and it's the kind that
It's a compound
chops
miter
down.
saw.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a sliding compound
it
miter
comes
saw.
down and he chopped his finger off with that, cut it right the fuck off, and blood was everywhere all over that thing. And I remember being like, I really don't want to use that saw anymore. Like, not because of the blood, but because like I now see the dangers of that saw. And like before, I had no fear of this saw, but now that I've seen it in action, there's something about humans that we need to see some bad shit go down to fully respect something like that. When I remember Mr. Ertzberger would always tell us, there was a guy, Harley, in our class. He had long hair like a girl, and it was his thing. He was unique. Harley had a rough time. His mom was a stripper, and everybody knew it. And he had this long fucking hair down to his shoulders, and he was the guy who enjoyed machine work. He would be on the metal lathe, and Ertzberg was always telling him, get that hair back, get it in a
Oh my
ponytail, put it
God.
under. And I never fully respected what he was saying until I watched videos as an adult, you know, on the internet of people getting sucked into lathes.
Oh, but it didn't happen
And
to him. He got away with it.
He's fine. As far as I know, like, but Ertzberger told us the story of someone it had happened to and the gruesome injury that you get. And then we had another kid, I think he was chopping, I think he was on a grinder, like a grinder like I described, but a real big one where the wheel is 5-6 inches. And he got his finger into that. You know, it spins downward, and there's a stopgap
pull
thing
you.
at the bottom, and it pulled him in. And it ruined his finger. It ruined his finger in a gruesome kind of way. And there was blood all over the place. And like those two little things that I saw one was in shop class and the other was in metals class, and they were right next to each other with just a door that stayed open between them and big sliding doors on the outside. So we were intermixing constantly. So those two things really impressed upon me, like the need for safety when working with power tools and machinery. I like my fingers. I need them all. And, you know, I don't want to be a freak. You know
what else I like? I like my hearing. I'm pretty good about hearing protection. A lot of people aren't. Paramotor, I double up. And not only do I like protecting a hearing, but I find it more pleasant. You know, if I'm on like when I plane wood, it's often a loud machine for like an hour at a time. Double up. Not only is it safer, but it's nicer.
You grow up with a woman screaming at you enough, you won't mind a little hearing loss after a while.
Good thing.
It
You're like,
becomes
hey.
part of the game. Your tinnitus. Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. If I keep this up, you'll shut the fuck up. Bang, bang, bang. I won't be able to hear shit in a year or two.
So your
Yeah, my
parents are
dad-
fully divorced? That's over and wrapped and done?
Yeah, they're fully divorced.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been that the divorce has been full. maybe a
Two
year.
Christmases, Kyle. You know,
I haven't gotten shit for Christmas.
twice as many presents. Yes.
In a coon's age, I haven't gotten anything.
In a coon's age?
In
Is
a
that?
coon's age. Yeah, you know the
Never heard
lifespan of a raccoon. You know, many years. I
got
haven't
it.
gotten anything for
Yeah.
Christmas. We don't do that. But yeah, they're fully divorced. Dad's, you know, he's dating and stuff, and mom, I never want to see another man again. You know, she's got that kind of attitude about it. I've been talking to my mom more. She'll bring dinner over every now and
Good.
then. So I'm getting along with her better.
My mother-in-law once laid out what old age dating is about. And she's like, this is like post-65. All they're looking for is a nurse or a purse. One of those two. And I'm like, okay.
My dad's 63, 64, something like that, and that is not what's going on with him. He's like, I think he lies on his thing and says he's like 61 or something like that, or maybe even 59 or somewhere in there. But like, he shows me the pictures of these women, and I'm like, that's not bad. All right, yeah, that's a shapely woman. That's not. She's got, you know, she's not no gray. That's some blonde, good-looking lady. And he's got so many of them that, like, he was over here the other night, and I was cooking steaks, and the girl he was seeing, not really a girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, was like, she sends him this text message that says, I've got men knocking at my door. You need to make a decision here, meaning, you need to commit to me in some way. And he was like, he typed back, answer it, and then blocked her. He
Good for
typed
him.
back, answer it, and blocked her. I was like, oh, that's cold as ice. Woo.
Let's end the show on that one.
Yeah.
All right, PKN 163. I like this one.